All right, welcome. And this time we are reading about Lexington and Concord. And this is where the very first shots of the war happen. This is April 19th, 1775. So, at dawn on April 19th, some 700 British troops arrive in Lexington. They go to Lexington first, and they came upon 77 militiamen gathered on the town green. So it's kind of like the town square. So you got 77 militiamen. And a militiaman is somebody who is a regular guy. He's got a gun and he's acting like a soldier. So it's uh, the actual people of the town acting like a military unit. A British major yelled. He yells at these guys. Out of the 700 British troops, so a British major, probably one of the guys in charge, says, "Throw down your arms, ye villains, ye rebels." So he's calling them traitors. He's calling them uh, enemy combatants. The heavily outnumbered militiamen, 700 versus 77, yes, heavily outnumbered is correct, had just been ordered by their commander to disperse, to scatter, when a shot rang out. To this day, no one knows who shot first. Did the British shoot first, or did the militiamen shoot first? Nobody really knows. Several British volleys were subsequently, so after the first shot was fired, several British volleys were unleashed before order could be restored. So somebody shot, and then once they shot, the British were like, boom, 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 boom. This is the famous shot heard round the world that was later immortalized by the famous poet Ralph Waldo Emerson in his poem titled The Shot Heard Round the World. Um, when the smoke cleared, 8 militiamen lay dead and 9 were wounded, while only 1 redcoat had been injured. The British then continued into Concord to search for arms, because that was the whole point. They wanted to find military arms, military weapons, not realizing that the vast majority of these weapons had already been located. They decided to burn what little they found, and the fire got a little bit out of control. Hundreds of militiamen occupying the high ground outside of Concord incorrectly thought that the whole town was going to be torched. The militiamen hurried to Concord's North Bridge, which was being defended by a contingent of British soldiers. The British fired first, but fell back when the colonists returned the volley. So that's the simple version. If you don't mind, I'm going to quickly show you something on a pretty cool map. If you look at this, this is basically the story of what happened told as a map. The British were stationed over here in Boston, which is right next to Charleston, and they left, and they were heading over here towards Lexington and towards Concord because they heard that there were weapons there, and they said we are going to get those weapons. We're going to go grab those weapons and take them, so that way that before rebellion can start, we'll just take the weapons. And they had actually done this in a couple other places, and they hadn't really ran into a whole lot of fighting back. When they got to Lexington, this is where that shot first heard around the world, the 77 versus 700. That's where this happened, and they all fell back and were like, "Oh, that did not go well," uh, and they fell back to Concord, which is where the second engagement happens, where they get to Concord and they thought that they were burning down the whole town, and they had planned on going. The British had planned on continuing past there and going to other places to get more arms. When they got to this bridge, it's a small narrow bridge. The colonists and their militias were set up to fire from the woods, and the British in this small little bridge trying to cross they got they got kablooied, and it did not go well. In fact, a lot of British died there. So they turned around and said, "We're going to run home." And as they ran home, all these blue arrows, this is more and more and more as they ran home, trying to get back to Boston, they were struck over and over again. And the colonists saw more and more success as they destroyed more and more of these guys. Uh, this is kind of a zoomed in version of Lexington. You had the British. It was early in the morning at 8:30 in the morning. and the the militiamen in Lexington was somebody shot. We don't know who shot, but somebody did. But 77 versus 700 guys. Somebody shoots, and the 700 guys all say no, just no. So colonists lose here. They fall back to Concord. Concord is being burned, or so they thought. The British start to cross Old North Bridge. The colonists, the militia, uh, devastate them there, and then the British start running back. And all as the whole time that they're running back, in fact, they didn't even go to Boston. They just said no, it's faster to get to Charlestown, so they just cut into Charlestown. And the whole way back, they're being bombarded by militias coming from out in the middle of nowhere. Just militias from all the surrounding towns are just collapsing on them. So hopefully this has helped you understand where uh, what the first shots of the American Revolutionary War came from, and hopefully you're doing great.